The King's Avatar, Chapter 1428 Victory, audio source, wuxia-world-audiobook.com. Chapter 1428, Victory. Translator, Nomyami. Editor, Nomyami. Victory has already been decided. In the first round of the playoffs, Happy takes their home game win. The match wasn't truly over yet, but Panlin gave the announcement anyways. Happy had won 5 points in the group arena and had won 5 points in the team competition so far, for a total of 10 points. As for Blue Rain, they had only won 3 points in the group arena. To win or tie the first round, they would have need to not only win the team competition, but win it with at least 2 players left. Unfortunately, they failed to achieve this goal. With Bullet Rain down, Blue Rain had lost 5 players. Even if Song Seo took down Su Mucheng and Qiao Yivan, it was impossible for Team Blue Rain to win this round's team competition. Coach Lee, how about you give a rundown of this match? Pan Lin asked. This match? How can I say it? Li Yibo pondered. Team Happy had completely grasped Team Blue Rain's tactical traits, limiting Team Blue Rain's performance by a considerable degree. We can see that the 2 opportunities seized by Team Blue Rain had actually been intentionally prepared by Team Happy. But you can't say it was entirely a trap. Those opportunities were indeed good opportunities for Team Blue Rain. It was just that they were met with hindrance during their execution and could not reach the desired outcome, such as Wei Chen stalling Yu Wenzhou and Lu Hanwen. Pan Lin said. Yes, Happy's strategy was actually very ambitious. It required an old general, who had left the pro scene 7 years ago and only just returned, to contend with Lu Hanwen and Yu Wenzhou, 2 all-stars. Let's think about it for a moment. If Wei Chen's Windward formation had been killed earlier, or if he failed to stall both players, the match may have ended completely differently, Li Yibo said. If those imaginary situations really had happened, perhaps Happy might have countermeasures in place. Pan Lin said. This we don't know. If I had to guess, I'd say, probably. After all, it was a rather risky strategy. Li Yibo said. Oh, the match is now officially over. As expected, even though Song Seo was in a 1v2, he came into the fight much healthier than Happy's 2 players. In the end, he was able to win the 1v2, but it no longer has any effect on the final outcome of today's match, Pan Lin said. From the data we have on the team competition, Blue Rain had the advantage. After all, the team competition was their win. Unfortunately, if you look at the round as a whole, they lost. Li Yibo said. The 2 teams walked out of their player booths. The 2 teams met in the center and shook hands. Compared to the start of the match, the mood on both teams were now 2 extremes. You played very well. Thanks for the match. Yu Wenzhou maintained his calm. You played so-so. Ye Zhu wasn't polite at all. We'll see you next round. Yu Wenzhou said. If he were anyone else, it might sound like there was a hint of vengeance in his words. But coming from Yu Wenzhou, these words just sounded like he was stating a fact. Next, Huang Shaoshan. Ha, Ye Zhu only laughed. What are you so happy about? You just barely won. Huang Shaoshan remarked disdainfully. The championships are won by just a narrow margin. Ye Zhu said. Leave it for after you beat us. Huang Shaoshan said. That's next round's business. Ye Zhu expressed dully. The teams passed by each other 1 player at a time. The 2 sides had simple exchanges. The winners weren't arrogant, and the losers weren't downcast. Happy's last player is their 6th player, Wei Chen. He shined the brightest in the team competition, doing what people considered impossible. Are you convinced? Wei Chen shook Yu Wenzhou's hands. I've always been convinced. Yu Wenzhou smiled. Are you scared? Wei Chen asked Huang Shaoshan. What's there to be scared of? Huang Shaoshan rolled his eyes. He had respect and gratitude towards Wei Chen from the bottom of his heart, but in terms of their interactions, there was no way he could be serious with him. Little demon, now you know the might of your senior. Lu Hanwen was third in line. He was still going through puberty, and his voice hadn't deepened yet. He was shorter than the other players by a head. Wei Chen rubbed his head instead of shaking his hands. Amazing. Lu Hanwen nodded his head. Let's see who'll win next time, senior. Little bastard. Wei Chen cursed inwardly. He obviously knew that if he had to fight Lu Hanwen several times, he would definitely lose more than he won. In today's match, from a PvP perspective, he had been killed by Yu Wenzu and Lu Hanwen. He had done what he had hoped to accomplish. He had achieved his goal, so he had succeeded, but in terms of winning, let alone him, the team competition had been won by Team Blue Rain. The final outcome was a difficult problem for the Alliance. They weren't sure who to give the MVP award to. Team Blue Rain had won the team competition, but Team Happy had won the overall round. From the overall flow of the team competition, it could be seen that Happy had no intentions of winning. Their goal was to win as many points as possible in the team competition. From this perspective, Happy had been more successful in the team competition. They had achieved what they wanted. However, how could they ignore the actual outcome? From pure numbers, Huang Shaoshan was excellent in the team competition. Whether it was the damage he took or the damage he dealt, he was number one in both categories. His contribution in the team competition was obvious. However, WuxiaWorldAudio.com. The first problem was that Happy had reached their goal in the team competition. And the second problem was that Huang Shaoshan's troubling rain had half his health knocked away by a tree in the group arena. No matter how it was spun, that should be considered a big mistake. As for Happy's players, Wei Chen's performance in the team competition had been astonishing, being the decisive factor there. However, he had died early in the match. There were many other deciding factors later that he wasn't a part of. He also didn't appear in the group arena. For the group arena, Happy's Mo Fan performed spectacularly, but he didn't participate in the more important team competition. As a result, the two sides had their pros and cons. In the end, the MVP award was given to Yi Xiu. Yi Xiu had completed a 1v2 in the group arena too. It was just that Mo Fang, being a rookie, beating Huang Shaoshan to complete a 1v2 made his performance more eye-catching. In the team competition, Yi Xiu wasn't as stunning as Wei Chen, but he had been the deciding factor in multiple crucial moments. Maybe we're just too used to Yi Xiu's amazing performances, so we always forget about him. Quote, in one of the reports for this match, Yi Xiu had been described as the MVP who won the award without batting an eye. This round's performance didn't garner Happy too much praise. In the next day's Esports Weekly, Happy's victory was described as a successful exploitation of the new competitive format. This comment came about mostly because Happy had exposed their intentions in the team competition, revealing that they would win the overall match through points. The team competition had always been the most important part of a match. Happy had lost the team competition, yet still won the overall round, which was quite unusual to many people. The new competitive format had been used in Season 9's playoffs as well, but it was the first time this sort of situation had occurred. In the home game, they took advantage of their group arena fluke to win the overall round, but in the following two away games, does Happy have enough courage and enough confidence to face them? Another report commented in this way. The group arena win was regarded as a fluke, obviously because of Huang Shaoshan's troubling rain losing half his health from a tree. This sort of situation would obviously be treated as an accident. Happy's win had been built upon this fluke. Next, 2 away games. This seemingly normal statement was actually filled with malice. As long as Happy won the next match, this first round would be over. But the report stated 2 away games, indicating that Happy would certainly lose the following one. The Happy haters found quite a bit to talk about because of this match. But before Happy's next round began, the next day's first round 4th match came knocking down. In the 4th match, Tiny Herb played against Thunderclap, winning 10-9. In addition, the point distribution for this match was identical to the point distribution for the Happy vs Blue Rain match. Tiny Herb won the group arena 5-3, but lost the team competition 5-6. However, the total points tallied to 10-9, Tiny Herb's win. Was it on purpose? Was it by luck? No one knew. The discussion point was the same for 2 matches. The results were the same, but the responses were different. It was easy to think that the evaluations were unfair. In the numerous reports, Happy's match against Blue Rain was pulled out. Comparing the differences between the 2 matches to explain that despite the same outcome, Happy's had been intentional, while Tiny Herb's had not been. In the group arena, Tiny Herb earned a tremendous win, and it was not through luck. In the team competition, the home game, Thunderclap played powerfully, but Tiny Herb didn't rely on the group arena advantage. Instead, an intense confrontation between the 2 teams unfolded. In the end, the 5 points obtained was a result of their intent to win. The goals and attitudes that the 2 teams displayed are conclusive. The evaluation of Tiny Herb and Thunderclap became a comparison between Happy and Tiny Herb. The reports were scared that if they didn't explain their thoughts clearly enough, their reputation would be damaged. End chapter.
The King's Avatar, Chapter 1429. 2 teams eliminated. Audio source, wuxia-worldaudiobook.com. Chapter 1429. 2 teams eliminated. Translator, Gnome Yummy. Editor, Gnome Yummy. Whether or not it was intentional was a topic that could be discussed for an entire week, if the match had occurred during the regular season. But the tempo of the playoffs didn't give anyone a break to consider such topics. With the high frequency of one match being played each day, it was almost too much for the spectators to take in, with each match leaving a different impression on them. Whether or not winning through the group arena was intentional was already an outdated topic. At this point, it was already the first match of the second round. In their home stadium, Team Samsara would face off against Team 100 Blossoms. Having already lost one home game, 100 Blossoms already had no path of retreat. But even facing off against Samsara, the most dominant team in the season, the team aiming for 3 consecutive championships, 100 Blossoms didn't show any sign of fear. Under Yu Fang's command, 100 Blossoms took the initiative to go on the offensive against Samsara in their away game. In the group arena, both teams fought fiercely, going back and forth, with each side eliminating the opposing players quickly. Neither side was able to secure a significant lead, but in the end, Samsara still won the group arena with a score of 5-4. Just like this, Team 100 Blossoms entered the life or death team competition with a 1-point disadvantage. They didn't play conservatively, only taking the necessary precautions when playing an away game. Even in their position, one step away from elimination, 100 Blossoms continued to take the initiative to the best of their abilities. In the last round of the regular season, 100 Blossoms had also faced off against Samsara. It had also been their away game, and they had also been on the precipice of elimination, but relying on their tenacious determination, they played to the best of their abilities, seizing 1 point after another. At the end of the day, it was a 1-point advantage that had secured them a spot in the playoffs. But even in that round, in the team competition that followed afterwards, 100 Blossoms had also tried their very best but ultimately lost. In the first round of the playoffs, 100 Blossoms had personally experienced Samsara's different temperament when it came to the playoffs. Winning 2 championships had given them a great deal of self-confidence. This allowed them to put on a steady and calm performance in the playoffs. In this manner, they unflinchingly withstood the great waves from 100 Blossoms in their home game, defeating them and letting Team 100 Blossoms clearly understand the difference in strength between the two teams. Faced with this steady and stable playstyle, 100 Blossoms had little chance of winning. Samsara's stability meant that everyone could hardly imagine them making any fatal mistakes that would lead to their defeat. That night, the players of 100 Blossoms felt somewhat depressed. Facing off against what seemed to be an unbeatable opponent had dampened their spirits. But after one night, everyone from 100 Blossoms had readjusted their state of mind. If they already felt as if victory was nigh unachievable, what else was there to fear? They would throw caution to the wind, play an exciting match, and that would be it. Yufeng could feel this kind of an atmosphere throughout the team. So, in this crucial away game, they simply put aside their reservations, allowing everyone to put their all into this battle. Victory, defeat, forget about such matters for the time being. On the most cutthroat stage of the playoffs, against the strongest team, let's see what we can achieve. The team competition showcased an even more brilliant back and forth in the group arena. Every single member of 100 Blossoms put on their best performance, with each player having their own outstanding moments. Nevertheless, the team that achieved victory at the end of the day was still Team Samsara. Team 100 Blossoms had been eliminated, but after this loss, Yufeng could see unwillingness and vexation on the faces of all the members of 100 Blossoms. If only my deployment of the Devil World flowers hadn't been disrupted. The summoner, Zhu Xiaoping, slapped his leg as he lamented, unresigned. It's my fault. If only I had given you the proper covering fire at that time, then. Zhou Yuan said. If only that sneak attack of mine had succeeded, then. Zhou Guangyi, their assassin, said. One match had left them with too many. If only At this time, these hypothetical scenarios actually symbolized hope for Team 100 Blossoms, because they would have opportunities and circumstances to turn those hypotheticals into reality. Next year, we will return once more, Yufeng said. Once more. Zhu Xiaoping didn't slap his leg, instead clenching his fists tightly. Once more. Everyone in 100 Blossoms solemnly nodded their heads. After desperately killing their way into the playoffs, 2 matches in the first round had spelt the end of their journey through the playoffs. They were regretful, they were unresigned. But Yufeng felt that these were exactly what they had gained. Because they were regretful, because they were unresigned, they would have more motivation. If the only thing they felt was despair from losing against a strong opponent, how would this team ever have the courage or confidence to fight once more? Having such a competition, having such a group of teammates, it was really too great. Yufeng thought of this, feeling that he would definitely have incomparably bright prospects in the near future. Team Samsara advanced into the top 4, taking a solid step towards their goal of winning 3 consecutive championships. In the various reports the next day, they naturally still sang the praises of the victor. 2 rounds, 2 group arenas, 2 team competitions, and Samsara had won them all, indisputably seizing victory in their opening round. For them, aside from words of flattery and praise, there really wasn't much else to say. Samsara's greatest enemy may only be a feeling called arrogance, one report said. Immediately, the question of which team could possibly snipe Samsara's 3 consecutive championships became a topic of discussion. Just like the question of who could stop their consecutive victories in the regular season, it quickly became a hot topic of discussion amongst everyone. The team that had put an end to Samsara's record of consecutive victories, 100 Blossoms, had already been personally sent out of the playoffs by Samsara. Then, would there be another team that would say goodbye to the playoffs next? In the first round of the playoffs, in their second game, Team Tyranny would face off in their home stadium against Team 301. In their previous home game, Team 301 had lost miserably. Everyone could see that in the more cautious environment of the playoffs. Team 301's help from abroad, who had only been part of the team for half a season, was increasingly unable to create opportunities for his team. What's more, their opponents were Team Tyranny, home to a number of old generals who had incomparable levels of experience. On top of that, they had an extremely cautious tactician, Zhang Xinjie, along with the fact that Team Tyranny's current playstyle was no longer their old, hyper-aggressive style, instead focusing on defense. All these factors greatly restricted Team 301's ability to execute their game plan. What was originally a dark horse that countless people had thought highly of was now the team with the most disappointing performance in the playoffs. In the first match, it had been as such, and in this match, it was the same. Compared to their first match, 301's only improvement was taking one more point for themselves. Your tactics aren't bad, go back and keep working hard. Quote. When the players were shaking hands after the match, Zhang Xinjie said this to Team 301's foreign help, Bai Shu. Ridicule? Contempt? Bai Shu obviously didn't have a sufficient understanding of Zhang Xinjie, completely misunderstanding the intention behind Zhang Xinjie's words. Actually, it had to be understood that Zhang Xinjie's words were always very simple, so what he had meant was just the most simple and direct interpretation of those words. WuxiaWorldAudio.com. On the other hand, Bai Shu's thought process wasn't as uncomplicated. Because they had suffered defeat, because the tactics that he had brought weren't able to be fully put to use, Zhang Xinjie's praise, saying that his tactics weren't bad after the match sounded exceedingly ear-piercing to him. Bai Shu wasn't too happy, preparing to retort sarcastically. Trash talk was, after all, a global language. Thank you for your advice. Quote. Before he could open his mouth, the person standing in front of him, Team 301's captain, Yang Kong, had cut in, replying to Zhang Xinjie in his place. Obviously, Yang Kong clearly understood Zhang Xinjie's personality. And at the same time, he also foresaw that Bai Shu, who didn't really understand Zhang Xinjie, might have a negative reaction to his words, so he had quickly intervened. Bai Shu was stunned for a moment, but he didn't say anything, deferring to Yang Kong's attitude, and quietly finishing the post-match formalities. It was only when they had returned to their club that Yang Kong explained to Bai Shu that Zhang Xinjie's words were utterly devoid of ridicule. Instead, he was simply stating the facts. Continue to work hard. Yang Kong patted Bai Shu on the shoulder. Bai Shu lowered his head, spending some time in deep contemplation, but he also realized that with only half a year to fit into the team, his tactics were indeed lacking in many aspects. After using them for half the regular season, they were no longer surprising to the rest of the teams in the alliance, and in the cutthroat environment of the playoffs, it was inevitable that he would hit a wall. Continue to work hard. Bai Shu raised his head, replying to Yang Kong, his eyes filled with determination. Yang Kong laughed. As a player who had debuted in the third season, he didn't have much time left in his professional career. Being the core, or the main force, such roles would gradually leave him. If he stubbornly refused to budge, it would instead burden his entire team. Yang Kong would no longer be able to build 301's future. The person in front of him, Bai Shu, he was the one who would have to shoulder the burden of 301's future. In Yang Kong's eyes, Bai Shu was a talented player, worthy of being entrusted with such a role. He was quite happy that his team was able to dig out such an outstanding player from the pro scene overseas. Outside of the Glory Alliance, how many Glory experts were there that they had never seen, and never played against? Yang Kong couldn't help thinking about this. If he had the chance, he really wanted to experience it firsthand. As Yang Kong thought about this, he felt a sense of melancholy. Whether or not he would still have such a chance was something that he couldn't be sure about. Team 301 became the second team to be eliminated from the playoffs. And Team Tyranny, who had been underestimated throughout the regular season, now looked like they had gathered themselves once more in the playoffs. In front of Tyranny, 301, who had been a headache for countless teams in the second half of the regular season, had instead been battered and bruised. This was Team Tyranny's real strength. Many articles ran such a tagline. Real strength. These two words would always make people feel deeply moved. After the end of the first round, Team Tyranny's popularity rating increased by an incredible amount. Many people had already begun to predict that the two teams vying for the championship in the end would still be Tyranny and Samsara. In the news, aside from discussion of the match between Tyranny and 301 from the night before, there were also predictions and opinions on the match that would happen that night. Happy's away game against Blue Rain. 3 days after their first match, these two teams would face off once again. The Happy haters flocked out of their holes, wanting to see if Happy, who had fought such an arduous and utilitarian battle in the first match in order to win, would be able to make any waves in their away game. In Blue Rain's home game, there shouldn't be any big tree blessing Happy anymore, right? The tree falling on troubling rain still remained as the most eye-catching moment of the first match. Happy's haters especially like to use this as an example to explain that Happy's victory had been a fluke, something purely based on luck. It was a pity that no matter how many times they brought it up, Happy didn't feel anything much, but instead, Huang Shaoshan was gnashing his teeth, viciously cursing this group of Happy haters hundreds of times. "That smelly brat, it's best that he doesn't run into me," Huang Shaoshan repeated many times over these 3 days. The smelly brat naturally was referring to Mo Fan, but not running into him meant quite the opposite. Huang Shaoshan couldn't wait to run into Mo Fan again. End chapter.
The King's Avatar. Chapter 1430 Blue Rain's starting player. Audio source, WuxaWorldAudiobook.com. Chapter 1430 Blue Rain's starting player. Translator, Nomyami. Editor, Nomyami. With the second match, it was Happy's turn to play the away game. The day before, they flew over to Blue Rain's home city, City G. A night of rest allowed him to recover from the fatigue of travel. That morning, they warmed up in the temporary trying room specifically for away teams. In the afternoon, there weren't any group activities, so everyone found their own ways to get into condition. When it was about time, they would go over to the stadium together to familiarize themselves with the surroundings, and soon after that, tonight's match would be upon them. After lunch, everyone returned to their own rooms to take a break. Wei Chen, smoking, stood by the hotel room window and absently stared outside. "Isn't this already your second time here? And the second time you've stayed here? What's with the sad face?" Yishu said from the side. Like that place in Upper Forest Park, he and Wei Chen were rooming together. "Last time we came, I don't think I went to visit the team," Wei Chen said. "You want to visit?" Yishu asked. He knew that by team, Wei Chen was referring to Team Blue Rain. "Before, not really, but after last match, I suddenly kind of want to," said Wei Chen. "I understand," Yishu said, nodding. "You understand?" Surprised, Wei Chen turned to look at him. "Last match was a struggle for you, so now you need to go in front of those guys and aggressively show off," said Yishu, with a face of sympathy. "Oh, fuck off," Wei Chen said snappily. "If you want to go then just go. Do you really need to waver over something as small as this?" Quote. After that, Yishu didn't pay him any more mind. He went to go take a nap to rest up. Wei Chen stood by the window and continued to waver for quite a while. In the end, he made up his mind, firmly finished and extinguished his cigarette, and left. Yizhu slept for the entire afternoon. By the time he woke up, Chen Guo was already calling everyone to head over to the stadium together to familiarize themselves with it. By this time, Wei Chen had already returned, and was acting as though nothing was up. Had he gone? Yizhu didn't ask, nor did he say anything about it. After Happy assembled, everyone left the hotel together and arrived at Blue Rain Stadium, Sichuan Stadium. Last time it had been somewhat unfamiliar, but this was now their second time here. Following the workers, Happy filed into the stadium. All of the facilities needed for the match were already prepared, and Happy's members were simply wandering around, imaging the atmosphere that this place would have in a few hours. They would often do this during the regular season as well, so everyone was used to it. No one could say for sure whether it was useful, but because everyone did this, there wouldn't be any downside. "You're here." Quote, as Happy was aimlessly hanging around, they suddenly heard someone greeting them. When they turned, they saw Blue Rain's captain Yuan Zhu. He was just by himself, calmly standing to the side and looking at the entire team. Happy. The greeting had sounded less like an opponent, and more like a host welcoming some guests. "Yeah, we're here," Yizhu answered for Happy. "Good luck with your preparations." Yu Wenzhou dipped his head and didn't bother them any further, leaving them to their devices. "What was that for?" Chen Guo asked Yizhu. The home team players generally wouldn't come to familiarize themselves with the stadium beforehand. Of course, a few players had their own unique habits, but it didn't seem that Yu Wenzhou had been exposed for having any such special habits. "Who knows," said Yizhu, watching Yu Wenzhou depart. "Just casually wandering around, probably." The next time they saw Blue Rain's current captain, it was already nighttime, right before the match's start. The two teams were lined up in the player passageway, waiting to enter. "Work hard. Good luck." The two captains at the front of the two lines represented their teams as they encouraged each other. The air actually seemed quite harmonious. After that, the teams entered the stadium as normal, nothing out of the ordinary. But because Blue Rain had lost the previous match, they had to win today's match no matter what. As soon as the players entered, Blue Rain's home fans erupted. In order to cheer on their team today, special preparations had been made on Blue Rain's side. Guild leader Changing Spring had specifically recruited helpers and arranged everyone in all corners of the stadium. This let the devoted fans act like a train, driving up the spirits of the whole stadium. And Changing Spring himself was sitting in the east seating section, directly across from the west. On the west side was the section reserved for the away team fans, while the east side had Blue Rain's diehard fans. Over here, they were directly opposite the away team fans, and could easily engage in contests with them. With the explosion from the Blue Rain fans, the happy fans on the west section weren't about to be outdone. Even though there was no way for them to get the upper hand due to their inferior numbers, they would certainly let the opponent recognize their presence. The fan squad following Happy for the playoffs had been personally organized by Wu Chen. Right now, the west seating area included Thousand Creations, Horse Shooter, Seven Fields, Sleeping Moon, these players who were the backbone of Guild Happy. Everyone had made thorough preparations with sophisticated equipment, all sorts of eye-catching noisemakers that swiftly began to disrupt the home crowd's cheering. Wow, the players have only just entered the stadium, and the fans on both sides are already going at each other. It looks like today's match is going to be exceptionally exciting, said the broadcast commentator Pan Lin, feeling the atmosphere in the stadium. Blue Rain has no more path of retreat. They're going to have to give their all in this match, said Li Yibo. But Happy won their last match by only a narrow margin. Blue Rain isn't under too much pressure, right? Pan Lin said. Well, a team should never let themselves feel too much pressure. But if they let down the guard because Happy only won narrowly, then that attitude would be very bad for them. I trust that Blue Rain would not do such a thing. Whether a narrow or a big victory, Blue Rain's situation right now would be the same, said Li Yibo. You're right. Right now, the players from both teams have already arrived at their own competitor booths, and the match will start soon. For the group arena, Happy will probably send Yishu up first again, right? Then on the home side, who will Blue Rain send up to deal with Yishu? The win or loss of this first point can have a big impact on the morale of both sides, said Pan Lin. But they also have to be careful. What if Happy doesn't send Yishu first? Then whatever plans Blue Rain makes to deal with him might come to nothing, and it'll hurt their own rhythm, said Li Yibo. Then what should Blue Rain do? Pan Lin said. There isn't a perfect way to deal with this, so let's just see what they do. This is the pressure exerted by a top-tier player, said Li Yibo. Alright, let us wait and see. Will Happy continue to send Yishu on stage first? And what kind of response will Blue Rain make? Right now, there are still 5 minutes until the match officially begins, said Pan Lin. The 5 minutes passed in the blink of an eye. WuxRWorldAudio.com. The judge came to call for them, and the two teams began to send their players on stage. Yishu. As it turns out, it's still Yishu. Pan Lin shouted. On Happy's side, Yishu had already stood up. What about Blue Rain? Who will Blue Rain send up to battle? Pan Lin looked at Blue Rain's side but still didn't find his answer. But at this moment, the digital screen in the stadium displayed the names. Happy, Yishu, Lord Grimm. Blue Rain, Yu Wenzu, Swaxar. It was as though the broadcast froze, entering 5 seconds of dead silence. Pan Lin's mouth had fallen open. For a long time, he was unable to say anything. In the stadium, too, when the names came out, it went completely quiet. Yu Wenzu. Pan Lin double-checked the words on the screen, and then took another look at Blue Rain's player area, where Yu Wenzu was already walking toward the stage. Yes, it was Yu Wenzu. In reality, when Yishu had stood up, Yu Wenzu had also already stood up on Blue Rain's side, and when Pan Lin had checked the screen, he had seen that. But he never would have thought that Yu Wenzu was the player that Blue Rain was sending out. He had subconsciously thought that he'd stood up to let another player pass by, or maybe as the captain, he was giving some last reminder to the player about to go on stage. Who would have thought that this was Yu Wenzu himself about to head on stage? Yu Wenzu was about to 1v1. 5 seconds of silence, a stammered announcement of Yu Wenzu's name, and then another 5 seconds of silence. Finally, Pan Lin recovered for good, and began yelling with disbelief in his voice. Yu Wenzu. It's actually Yu Wenzu. Blue Rain's first player in the group arena, the player facing off against Yishu, is actually Yu Wenzu. Coach Li. Quote. At the end, Pan Lin called for Li Yibo. Such a big thing happening, you hurry up and say a few words. This is indeed an extremely unexpected arrangement. Li Yibo forced himself to remain calm. He couldn't allow himself to be as passionate or volatile as Pan Lin. He had to display how much more of a refined person he was. Yu Wenzu. I don't even remember the last time he appeared in a 1v1, said Li Yibo. Today he's suddenly going on stage. This is probably a tactic specifically targeted toward Happy sending Yishu first, said Pan Lin. I would think so. Has Yu Wenzu found the secret to dealing with the unspecialized Lord Grimm? Said Pan Lin. There probably isn't any such secret, right? said Li Yibo. Then what's he thinking? Said Pan Lin. Li Yibo couldn't answer that question, and so he didn't. Yu Wenzu, who hadn't played an individual match in who knows how long, today wanted to challenge Yishu, challenge this season's king of dueling, the unspecialized Lord Grimm, who had been an incomparable headache for countless players. They hadn't even finished processing this reality by the time the two characters had already finished loading in, and the round officially began. The battle's starting, right now the battle's starting. Happy's Yishu, against Blue Rain's Yu Wenzu. This is a matchup in a group arena. I don't think I need to describe just how unusual this confrontation is. Pan Lin shouted, "Hey!" At this time, the two players entering the battle had already begun conversation in the chat. The first one to speak was Yishu. "You're really too bold, aren't you?" Yishu said. "I'm giving it a try," said Yu Wenzu. "If you end up winning this, no one in the pro circle will have any face left. This season's king of dueling finally taken down, and it's by you." Yishu said. "Don't rule out that possibility," said Yu Wenzu. "How's your hand speed right now? Can you reach 200? Yishu said. So. Yu Wenzu answered. End chapter.